Winter Rosie here. 2 weeks or so ago I made a video about who might become the leaders of this next generation. That one was specifically made for girl groups only, and I did mention that if it did somehow well I'll make a boy group version. Which I guess it did, so here we are. I suggest you watch that video before you watch this, since this will be a direct continuation of it. Most of my points will be similar and I simply didn't want to repeat myself all over again. One thing too, I'm not as educated with boy groups as I am with girl groups. So this might not be as in-depth as the other version, so I'd like to simply open this discussion to everyone. That was the point of the other video, to hear everyone's opinions on who will be the leaders. So I'd really like to hear more of y'all's opinions on this one too. I might start nitpicking here and there because for most of these groups, I have nothing negative to say. So if you're allergic to opinions, please skip ahead. Anyways, enough said. Let's get to the video. Talent, music, performance, I think they got it all. To be honest, there's nothing that these boys can't serve. Not once did they feel like a rookie group. Their Treasure series was one of the best runs I've ever seen for a rookie group. All great and fantastic albums with a cohesive sound. The pirate concept was an interesting take, with the chant and anthem-like vibe of it all. Wonderland was the perfect way to end the series, which was immediately followed by another great song answer. I really loved the Treasure series, easily one of my favorites ever in K-pop. Performance-wise, they performed like they were born to be on stage. Members like San, Hongjoon, and Jongho bring so much to the table when it comes to performance and talent. All 8 members are great at what they are doing and you can't deny that. I guess my only nitpick about them might be their direction. So far, I'm not the biggest fan of the Fever series. I don't know how many parts will there be, but currently I'm not that into it. They are starting to sound like the more typical boy group sound, which there is nothing wrong with, but I do really miss when they had their own unique sound. I thought that was what separated them with the other groups. Yes, they may be talented, but if you've been in this K-pop life for a while, you'd know that talent won't always get you to the top. So as much as I think they're a really good group, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't become the leaders. And speaking of unique, I think TXT has remained the most consistently interesting throughout their career. Crown, Blue Hour, and Love Song sound nothing alike, but you know it's TXT singing. To be honest, they have the biggest chance of becoming the leaders. Apart from their obvious relation with BTS, they are a pretty great group on their own. Their music is undoubtedly one of the best in the industry. They can sing and dance very well. They have interesting concepts and stories. Again, another perfect group. My only complaint with them is they still feel like a rookie group. I don't really know how to explain, so I guess try understanding me. It's the same problem I had with Luna. Yes, they've done an amazing job all those years releasing great music and giving great performances. But I do not see any independence with them. Okay, pitchforks down. Hear me out. I think that if it weren't for their companies, they wouldn't get to where they are today. I mean, obviously that goes for every group ever. But for the other groups, I can still see them doing well even out of their respective companies. Do you get where I'm going with this? I feel like their own companies are holding them back from what they are truly capable of. Which is crazy because these two have released some of the best songs in this generation. Some of the most unique songs ever, and yet, they still have no sense of individuality. I probably sound like a mad scientist right now, but I hope you get me. These groups, as talented, professional, and high quality as they are, doesn't feel like it was their own doing. I know I'm not the best at explaining, but I hope at least one of you got my point. Though I doubt it, since I'm probably the first person to ever talk about it. But besides my deep analysis, I think TXT is a great group to become the leaders. Stray Kids and TXT literally have what the other one needs. TXT is missing independence from their company and freedom with their music and how they execute it, while Stray Kids doesn't have the creativity and uniqueness TXT has. We all know they are a great group, no question there, but them remaining with this sound will be their downfall. It's as if Stray Kids aren't brave enough to try other concepts outside of the loud noise music genre. Yes, I've heard their B-sides and obviously they've done other sounds too. But unlike the other groups, they're still sticking with their badass image. And too much of something is never good. It gets old. We've seen them do IAMU and Leventer, but is that really enough? Was it as good as their loud sound? Trying a new concept is one thing, but doing it well and actually fitting it is a whole nother thing. These other groups are evolving, while Stray Kids is stuck and slowly decaying. It may be too much to ask, but I know Stray Kids will pull through, but we don't know how long it will take them to finally be comfortable with another sound. So as of now, I can't of the 4th generation to debut and still be relevant to this day. Same as the other groups. They're talented as fuck, blah blah, we get it. We know they're good, they've proven it multiple times already. But as great and talented as they are, I wouldn't want them to be the leaders. Pitchforks down please. Thank you. If we were talking about the individual subunits, yeah sure, fine. NCT 127's problem is only their experimental sound. I'm not hating, but you do know for a fact that experimental isn't for everyone. NCT Dream is also really good, my favorite personally. But it's obvious that SM doesn't focus on Dream as much as 127, who probably is their go-to group. I'm not very familiar with Wavy, but I can tell they're doing very well, especially in China. But then they wouldn't be a K-pop group, so they're obviously out of the question. All pretty solid groups, I must say. But as the whole of NCT, which most fans will probably want to become leaders, I really wouldn't want to see it. I will not accept a 23-member boy group to be the face of this generation. If there's one thing I hate about K-pop, it's that all of these groups feel like products rather than artists. Yes, the switchable members and concept are an interesting idea. But oh my god, is it so fake to see. It's a group of co-workers who were probably forced to work with each other. And I do not like that at all. It's more of a concept than it is a real team. I just wish SM would have focused more on one specific group, trying to build their bond and sound rather than just picking up random boys on the streets and debuting them together. A more compact and realized group would have been a lot so good. Do I even have to mention all the scandals they had? True or not? It's not a good image for them to carry on as leaders. SM literally had all the resources to make the next big group, but they failed so miserably because they don't know how to manage groups properly. There are so much boy groups out there that I can't even really comprehend it. But again, like I said on the girl group video, some of these groups are just not that much interesting as the others. Whether it be concept or music quality, they all have their own strengths and flaws. I only chose to talk about a few select groups because 1. I'm not the most knowledgeable about boy groups, and 2. I think anyone can be the leader, we wouldn't really know until it happens. Most of these groups have the same problems, it's just a matter of who will overcome it first. There are even more groups to debut in the future. These companies really love to cook up these groups like it's a pizzeria, just pumping out new groups every month. So again, we can never know who will be the leaders. As I said on the intro, I'm not that all-knowing when it comes to boy groups, so I'd like to hear what you all think about this. After making 2 of these videos, I realized that it doesn't really matter who the leader is. It only starts to matter when there actually is one. And I wouldn't be surprised if this generation didn't have a specific leader. Honestly, all of these groups are so good and admirable with all having their own uniqueness that I can't really tell who is the best. I think what we and they should be focusing on is their growth as artists. The goal isn't to impress others and become the best, but to be the best versions of yourselves. That goes both with real life and the industry. This isn't competition, and if it is, the only ones they should be competing with is themselves. I don't want to see X group being on top of other groups. K-pop is already loved by so much people that we don't really need someone to represent the industry anymore. It's about time that we finally realize that. Though probably not, because I know how crazy some fans can get. But other than that, I think all groups are doing well on their own. Let's all shut the fuck up about this whole 4th gen leader thing and give each other hugs and kisses. God, I love my character development so much. I can't believe I opened this discussion just to tell y'all to stop talking about it. Lol. Sorry.